Ah yes, Alex Kidd, the one-time mascot for Sega before he was dethroned in favor of the blue dude with attitude. Honestly, I can understand why. Many gamers from the early NES generation were becoming teens, and teens, mostly teen boys, tend to avoid anything too cutesy, as that influx of hormones makes them incredibly protective of their image. Sonic was drawn to be flippant and a rebel, something that kinda clicks with a lot of teenagers, myself included. That said, Alex here wasn't just beaten out by the blue blur for mascot. He was practically obliterated from existence as Sega moved almost all of its resources to develop games for their new mascot. Short history lesson aside, this is Alex Kidd for Sega Genesis. The sprite on the screen is Alex Kidd, or Bilbo Baggins, or one of the Beatles. Actually, if you ask a random off the street, they would probably answer that this is a hobbit. Not bashing him, as I love me some Lord of the Rings, I'm just saying that yeah, Hedgehog was probably the better call for Sega. So how does this game play? Well, I suppose you could call it baby's first platformer. You kill enemies and break open chests to collect money and special items. You can also collect items via betting your money in a game of rock, paper, scissors, also called Junkin, as it's called in Japan. And I'm actually kind of find this mechanic okay. It's different and simple, which matches the rest of the game very well. I mean, it is a little oddball compared to Mario, but this isn't Mario, obviously. Aesthetically, the game is bright and colorful, animations are smooth, and sprites are detailed. For a game released in 1989, it shows off the power of the, air quotes, last processing very well. Yeah, I know, made up bullshit from Sega, but it doesn't detract from how well the initial presentation is. Control-wise, Alex is slightly on the floaty side and has a bit of momentum when he lands. This isn't too hard to adjust to, but you might actually die at least once when you realize he cannot deal with baddies by jumping on them. You see, Alex trained under Mr. Miyagi and has the world's largest jump kick. Also, his other attack is literally throwing hands. Enemy car? Punch it. Mummy talking trash? Jack his jaw. Groundhog giving you the stink eye? Show him the history of pain with the back of your hand. It's actually kind of interesting that they gave such a charming and cartoony mascot the ability to deck people when so many other games just copied Mario. It's kind of refreshing. The soundtrack is, well, it's not what I would call memorable. It suits the game's level and atmosphere just fine, but you'd be hard-pressed to find a single track in here that even remotely competes with Sonic's first soundtrack. Again, not bad, but not exciting either. Lastly, I come to probably the only real fault I have with this game: length and difficulty. The platforming and enemy placement is very simplistic, as are the power-ups. Oddly enough, some of the power-ups may as well be a difficulty increase. For example, the pogo stick is more of a hassle to use than a benefit, for example. But on the flip side, one of the very first power-ups you get in the game is good enough to carry you for the rest of the way through. Turns out, throwing sonic booms out of your fists and feet is kinda overpowered. I wonder if he trained under Guile too. This brings me to the length issue. Most people could blow through this title in as little as 30 minutes to an hour at most. This would have been kind of a grinding my gears thing when I was a kid, back when I was getting rentals and stuff. But honestly, most people I know emulate, or if they are getting a physical copy, it's just a completed collection. In conclusion, Alex Kidd is done competently and worth a look if you're only looking for a short distraction. I am no talent red mage. If you like this review, then maybe hit that subscribe button. If not, just call me a Hobbit lover in the comments below. Either way, have a nice day.